Good morning, folks, or good day wherever you're watching this video. We're out here gathering up some more firewood. My wood pile took a bit of a hit this days off with a couple of firewood deliveries, and it's time to stock up a little bit more. And I got the 462 here, and if you watched my last video there where I did the tree job with my grandfather, you might have noticed that the 462 was running a little rough, or four-stroking is another term for it. And it just wasn't running right towards the end of the video. And I wanted to do an M-Tronic reset on it, but where the saw is hot, you can't really do the M-Tronic reset. You got to do it when it's cold. So I want to share with you guys how I'm going to do an M-Tronic reset on this 462 here. And then we're going to drop a couple of trees here today in this video. So to do this M-Tronic reset on this 462, you have to start it in the cold start position, which is that triangle logo here, with the chain brake on, and you're going to let it idle up to 30 seconds, no more than 60 seconds. After that, you're going to disengage the chain brake with it still in the cold start position and run it at full throttle until you see a noticeable difference in RPM. It'll flutter almost, like the saw will just sound different for a split second, and that's when the M-Tronic reset is done. So let's go ahead and I'll show you. So as you heard there, you could see it flutter there for that quick second like I was talking about. That's when the M-Tronic's done its thing and it's calibrated the saw. So let's go ahead here now, and we're going to drop a couple of these spruce trees. Nice. Not a bad looking stump. Radiate towards the trail, towards the truck, and that's what we want. So I'm not sure what the game plan is today. I might limb this guy up, take a little bit of firewood with it, and I might come back for this pine and maybe this spruce. We'll see how today goes. But let's get after the limbing process here now. Well, that's the first tree knocked down. Doesn't take you long to get a sweat on, have to take the jacket off when you're doing this. Now it's time to go and get that pine down here next. I'm gonna go grab my 562 here, Husky, and we'll drop that pine with that one and limb that up as well with that saw. All right, guys, before we get started dropping this pine here and limbing it, getting it ready for firewood, the stump that I got left here from this tree that we just cut, obviously I'm going to try and aim this tree, this pine, out towards where we just fell this one. And if I fall it straight out, it got the potential to land on top of that stump, and when it does, it's going to ricochet and the butt end is going to come up and it's got a potential to hit you, which you don't want. So even if you do make a higher stump, just go back and knock it down lower so it's flush to the ground as possible without messing up your chain. folks, you see me look up here and I'm looking and thinking to myself, how come that pine tree didn't go out beside that spruce tree? Well, there's a couple of reasons behind it. One, the limbs from that pine tree were tied up in that next tree we cut. So if you go back before that pine tree falls and hits the ground, it actually does a little twist and lets go from that spruce tree just before it hits the ground. And the second reason is I should have left more holding wood on that pine tree, so when it started to go, it wouldn't have got manipulated by the limbs of that spruce tree when it fell. There's always something to learn when you're out in the woods doing this stuff, and I want to share that with you. Grab the 500i here now, and we're going to drop that big spruce tree here. Just to show you how big this thing is, I think it's probably all of 80 or 90 feet. It's a big one. That's one nice stick. Well guys, that tree dropped real nice out the trail. These Oregon wedges are super nice, super smooth on the top, and then they got these indented like triangles here that grab the wood as you're hitting it in. And they're a nice gradual wedge. They're not steep, so they don't lift quick. And I basically got right up to the holding wood and just snipped away at it and kept hitting the wedges a little bit until it finally went over. They're nice. Well, let's get going here and limit out this last tree. Whew. That's her. Now it's just skidding at the log sections to make a truckload of firewood now. Let's get set up, get some firewood out. guys are new to the channel and haven't seen me use that yet, it's a skidding cone, and basically it's meant to do is just go over your log, and you put your sling or choker chain, whatever, you slide it through the barrel, and when you yard or skid out the log, it sucks the log into the drum, and then the log rides up all over these rough surfaces, or where it might bring up on it, it'll just ride up over, so the log goes out a lot easier. Well guys, that concludes another video. It was fun to have all the saws out and running them all, dropping a few trees and limbing and bucking. It just made for a good time, especially running that 562. For a 60cc power class chainsaw, it pulls that 28-inch bar and skip tooth chain like it's nothing. That saw has a pile of torque and a bunch of high RPM. It's just super fun to run. It was good to have the 372 back out and bucking up a few pieces of firewood with it. It's still not running the greatest. I gotta still tinker with that carb. Just seems every time I fire it up and use it, it runs good. Next time I go to use it again, the carb just seems off on it. So just gotta do some more tinkering away at that. But it's good to have the 500i and the 462 dropping those trees too. That was a good time. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I appreciate anybody that watches, likes, comments, and even subscribes. It means a lot. But we'll catch you on the next one.